Welcome to this week's edition of Fun Activities in 5. I'm really excited this week to be talking about how I use password questions as part of my entry routine and walk you through kind of how I set up a password question visually for my students on the board. And I'll tell you about how I do it on slides as well. I'm going to link a couple of blog posts below, so if you feel confused or want more information on how you can do passwords, you can read those. I'm also going to link some password slides that you're welcome to use if you would like. They're just questions that I've used over the past few years. I add to them periodically when I come up with a new question. And yeah, so let's get started. This is what my poster would look like that's hanging on my door. I know it's backwards, but this is what it would look like. I do my posters the same way every time. My question word is always in blue. My verb is always in green, and the rest of the question is always in purple. It also always has the Spanish and the English together with the questions because I want students to be able to make those connections of what words mean when they have new words. I also want them to see things like, oh, look, 4 words in two in Spanish. I also always give them a sentence starter. They don't have to use it, but for the first day or so, especially if it's a new phrase or verb or topic, it gives them something to hold on to and to set them up for success. So I do always give them a sentence starter. By the end of the week, I would say 50-50 on if they're using this sentence starter or coming up with their own, which is also totally allowed. I also give them options. This one has 8 options. My newer posters now have 9 because I've realized I can fit 9 on here. But I usually give them about 8 options of vocab answers they can use to answer the question. Again, they don't have to use them, but it's just a way to provide support and for them to be able to answer the question and learn a little bit of vocab along the way. When I do these, verbs are always in purple for my answers. Masculine nouns are always in blue and feminine nouns are always in pink. I do them that way so that students are able to kind of pick up on those patterns. Usually a few weeks into seeing those, students will ask and I will tell them that's what it is. It's just a way to kind of point that out to them. So how does this work? This hangs on my door. It hangs on the inside of my door. So when I open my door, it's facing the hallway where students come into my room. As students come up, I ask them the question. In this case, ¿Cómo te divertiste durante las vacaciones? And the student answers the question. Students can see what the question means, so they don't have to ask me, which allows them and me to stay in Spanish. They can see the sentence starter and what it means, so they don't have to ask me, and we can both stay in Spanish. Occasionally, students will ask me what the answer options are, but I try to only pick options where the picture and the Spanish are pretty clear. Unless I know they already know the word, I try to make them very, very clear because I don't want them to ask me what they mean. By the second or third day, I will give them extra options. And part of our class bingo is they can come up with an outside answer option to use to answer for their password question. So they can go home and look up their own vocab to come back and answer it. As students go through, depending on their answer, I'll just be like, thank you, good job. Sometimes I'll ask them a follow-up question. Like if they say they wanted to speak Spanish, I might say, where did you go? Did you speak Spanish at home? Who did you speak Spanish with? As just a way to kind of help them follow up a little bit to their question or answer. Some students will turn around and ask me the question as a way to kind of carry on that conversation. And I will answer the question if they do that because we want to encourage interpersonal skills. So as students come through and answer this question, it usually takes me 3 to 4 minutes to get through everyone. I do have classes of 35 and a passing period of 3 minutes. So whatever your class size is in your pass period, you can make this work. And it's just a great way to give them practice with the vocab that we're working on, new vocab and structures, grammar structures to be able to answer questions and engage in Spanish, and a way for me to make sure that at the door we're in Spanish every day coming into class and kind of reset that mindset. I did not realize this is going to take the whole 5 minutes just to talk about the entry part. So we'll talk about slides in another video. But thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.